here for the Mermaid Mask demo.
Yes.
It should be fine. So the idea is, obviously, this is the demo for the full game, which should hypothetically be coming out within the next year or so, which is very exciting. But once again, I don't know if we're necessarily going to be starting Lorelei and the Laser Eyes next Sunday. I guess I'll play it by ear, just depending on like what I really feel like I want to do. Because once again, I kind of feel like I want to do a little bit of 13 Sentinels and then take a break by doing Lorelei and then come back to it, right? But for right now, Mermaid Mask should be on the list of like on the radar stuff, because the moment that the Mermaid Mask like officially releases, we are immediately playing that shit. I'm so
very
excited. So feel free to start new game, and then you should be able to, yeah, you can just create new file. It is not long. We're probably going to be ending stream a little early today, in fact.
Very nice.
The Stone Top Inn.
Fishing trips on board the Dearest Selena. I'm guessing that's the name of the ship. Enquire with Felicia Stonetop at the bar, or with Sylvia Seafoam at the harbor. It's the case file, the reason we're here. It was left for us right here on the bar.
Look at that, Saba! 3D object!
Wow!
And look, so you can interact, so you can open the book.
And close the book.
A single handwritten letter and 2 photographs. For Detective Grimoire. Murder victim, Captain Magnus Mortuga, age 39. Location, Illusion Theater in the Mortuga submarine. Mortuga had locked himself in the room. It was later forced open and the body was discovered. Mortuga was alone, laying on his back with a single cut across his throat. No bladed weapon of any kind was found in the room.
The skull from the intro looks like him with his hair.
Kinda. The Illusion Theater is mostly empty, save for an ancient stone cauldron with a thick metal lid. The purpose of this cauldron is unknown. However, I am informed that it was never been unlocked, or it has never been unlocked before. It is now unlocked. It is now open. Signed, Captain Seafoam, captain of the Mortuga submarine.
Captain Seafoam. As far as I know, that's who hired us, and who left the case file here in the inn. But where are they now? Where is anyone? Sally, what do you think?
She is what we call asleep.
She's actively just asleep.
Great contribution. It's a painting of a sea serpent.
Does that look familiar to you at all?
Is it a serpent if it has legs?
If it doesn't have eyes, yeah.
Ah, thanks for clearing that up.
I remember no-eyed
It's some
creature.
book Sally's been reading. She insisted that we bring it with us, although I'm not sure why.
The book is called The Hex of the Helmsman, a paperback novel belonging to Sally. It looks to be a nautical fantasy adventure.
Christian Kale Publishing.
Something terrible awaits you in the depths. Will you face it?
Wait, hold
There's
on.
a photograph of a well-dressed man on the inside cover. Look at that man's.
And at that man's, hold on, I wanted to see this side. J.D. Rinman?
Werman?
Yeah.
It's Werman, I think. It's a R. Yeah, Werman.
JJ is already.
You can't read that. You were clearly not supposed to read that.
Is the of something his master.
Stop causing trouble. Stop causing problems.
What are you talking about? You can't vaguely make it readable and for
you can read
not
the
to
thing,
read it.
motherfucker. There's a button that says read. Something terrible awaits you in the depths. Will you face it? He sees it in his dreams. He sees it when he closes his eyes. He cannot escape it. But what is it? Renowned helmsman's Marcus Mordoom is a man with a singular purpose. He will not rest until he uncovers the truth. of what's really hiding beneath the waves.
I saw this and my brain instantly went Mordman.
Marcus Boardman.
Yeah, it sounds good, doesn't it? Then he said more
I like
Doom,
more
and I
Doom,
was
but yes.
Yeah, more Doom's also pretty cool.
With his debut. Oh, look at that! Can you imagine that they give you a way to actually fucking read it instead of being a psychotic bitch?
But
Anyway,
I wanted to read it here.
With his debut novel, author J.D. Worman is already carving out a place for himself in the annals of history. His mastery over the typewriter shines through in every beautifully crafted sentence. The only question is this: how can he possibly follow this up?
That's right.
Kristen Kael, publisher. The Hex of the Helmsman, J.D. Worman.
Oh.
For T.W. Ibis, for imparting upon me what it is to love the art of writing. Chapter 1, Lost at Sea. Marcus Mordoom tightened his grip on the wheel and started out across the bleak horizon. On this morning, the familiar frigid air of the South Sea carried something more than salt spray as it whipped through his weathered face. Or whipped around his weathered face. It did not whip through his weathered face. He'd be dead. On this morning, a familiar howling voice of the wind seemed to be in duet with a much grander voice, a voice that spoke in the language that Mordoom could not understand. Not yet.
There we go.
Hex of the Helmsman by J.D. Worman. Looks like Sally's read through it a couple of times already. I wonder what's so interesting about it. Bar stools. The wood is rotting, so I've strategically chosen not to sit on them.
Ooh. Wonder if this crab...
Does that look like anything?
A crab.
Technically, it should have had an extra...
You know, just in case anyone missed the overt nautical theming.
I think we've...
A wooden carving of a fish skeleton. If the windows weren't boarded up, you'd be able to see it from outside. There's nothing written on the barrels. I'm sure they were once filled with some kind of wonderful, unsanctioned local ale.
Hey.
It's Sally. She's fast asleep. To be fair, it is 4 in the morning. I agreed to stay awake and see if anyone shows up.
I was like, why are you awake?
So far, nothing. I thought I heard something outside.
Ooh.
Hello?
Oh my god, look at the guy! Ex-captain of the Mortuga submarine.
I'm sorry.
And the murder victim.
This arm looks way longer than this arm.
It's angled. It's foreshortening.
I know. No, I know, but I understand it's even foreshortening. It still feels weird to look at it. Okay, I should be able to... Oh, there's light now.
Sally, wake up. We have to go.
Why?
Because there's an eerie green light trying to lure us outside.
Oh, that's a pretty good reason. I'll get up.
Wow.
The town of Silkworm-on-Sea. Town square.
Silkworm-on-Sea. It's a ghost town.
A ghost town?
I just meant since, you know, it's abandoned. But yeah, there might be ghosts.
A large stone statue on top of a fountain.
It looks like a fisherman wrestling with some kind of dragon.
It says right here, the silkworm serpent.
It can't be a serpent. It has legs.
Right?
It's a billboard for
So,
theater.
Just to confirm with you, the silkworm serpent is one of the 4 mystids or whatever. Mystids.
Was it the eyeless, like...
It's the eyeless silver serpent, yeah.
Baroness Fortuna presents Fortuna Hall. Performing tonight, Waylon Wolfe.
Oh, tonight?
Yeah, we didn't come all this way to go to the theater. Also, the sign is several years old.
Another abandoned building. Mr. Grip's Emporium.
What do you think they sell?
Currently, nothing.
Okay.
The Stone Top Inn.
Do you recognize the
best
name
inn in
Stone Top, by the way?
Silkworm-on-Sea.
Unless it was like the name of one of the older gen people in the previous
Exactly one person from the last game was named Stone Top on the family tree. They married into the family.
Okay. I did
Yeah.
not remember that.
It's
but
the
that's
only.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
And therefore the best.
Let's not look at the obvious.
Stone Top was the
Lighthouse
name
on the
of the
Can we go up to
woman
the
who
top?
married
Do you have
Felix's
permission,
brother,
lighthouse
I
keeper?
think, if that makes any sense to you.
No.
Then no. There's something in the water.
What is it?
I don't know. But whatever it is the source of the green light.
Excuse me?
Is that?
A submarine. I think I can see someone standing on the deck.
Maybe we should go take a look.
For boarding it per se, but ugh.
An old wooden boy.
Boy?
Wrong.
Boy?
Buoy.
Boy is not a wooden boy.
Well, apparently, depending on where you live, you do say boy. But guess what? I'm from New England, where we say it correctly, which is buoy.
I also say buoy. Boy is interesting.
Wooden buoy is chained to the deck of the Mortuga submarine. There's a faint green glow in its eyes.
Okay.
It's kind of neat, right? Being able to move the evidence in 3D.
Yeah.
This is where the green light was coming from. I noticed it started to fade as soon as we stepped onto the deck.
So it's a boy that doubles as a lighthouse?
Oh, it hurts every single
The
time he
opposite,
says it.
really. A lighthouse warns you to stay away. But this thing lured us in.
I mean, a lighthouse doesn't necessarily tell you to stay away. It's more or less just giving you a direction to land.
No, what? Saba, are you insane?
Looks
No,
like
you
it
avoid
originally said
lighthouses. Like, there's a reason why lighthouses
Down
go
and
on like
says
the edge of
Mortuga.
cliffs and stuff. You like the idea is that lighthouses mark giant like insmiths or whatever that would obliterate your ship. You don't go like you follow a lighthouse for a bit because that's where land is, and then you want to go left or
My statement
right.
is still correct.
No, your state, Saba, you just
My
said
statement
where to
was
land.
it tells you no. It says where there's land. Like
That's not what you said. You
literal
said where
land.
to land.
Whatever. Okay, it's not my fault. You heard wrong.
It's
Yeah.
not my fault that you're
Mm.
stupid.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, all my stupidity comes from
Thinking what kind of dumbass thinks that you land where a fucking lighthouse is?
nobody, because
Crazy.
that's what I didn't say that, but okay.
You did.
I did not.
You can be
but,
wrong, it's okay.
Nice for you to be in denial. I'm getting mutiny vibes.
It's the wrong way around.
What?
Take another look at the case file.
Yeah, because Mortuga was the name of like he was the former captain, and now Seaphone is the captain again.
An old rowing
So
boat.
it seems like it doubled
Or-
back on itself, right?
Or
Because it
what?
seems like clearly
Or
Seafoam was printed
only
on the
has one
side
eye.
of the submarine. Then Mortuga took over, and now Mortuga is no longer captain again.
Oh.
Or
Water's pretty cool here.
Those are some big puddles, considering it's only slightly raining.
Yes.
Thank
However,
you,
5 minutes ago,
airplane.
the foot deck was underwater.
Right.
crashing into Saba's house.
I'm currently shining a light at it.
Also, what the fuck? I didn't when I played this last time. What the fuck is happening with the sky?
It's dawn. Looks like the sun is trying to come out.
Me.
I mean, the
It's
We're
dawn.
not going to be around to see it.
Oh no. How come?
Because we're going into the submarine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we could wait.
Yeah, I mean, we could.
I think that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much it. I think we're good.
Paula.
What's at the bottom of the ladder?
I can't see. It's pitch black.
Should we go back up?
Wait, I think there's a lever.
Pull the lever! Nice. Okay, well, let's look at the fire first.
I guess this is what lights up the room when you pull the switch.
I wonder what they burned to make it pink.
I think this door leads into the control room.
I want to go into the control room.
Her!
Her.
You can't. It's locked.
You don't need to come in here. This...
I think if you click on it, you could just read it.
It's taped up on the other side of the door.
You don't.
So it's
need to
taped up
come
on the
here.
inside of the control room.
So Captain Seafoam, I think, is on the inside. And
The crime scene is one floor.
Or
down,
definitely at
back
least
to
has
the
access,
room.
which makes sense because they are Captain Bradley.
Captain Seafoam.
Thanks for the directions, I guess.
no, I'm sorry. If
You
you...
get the sense that the captain is hiding from us.
Yeah, like, if
Why
you
would they do
close a
that?
place off, you gotta let us go in there.
Luckily, it's not pressing just quite
I
yet.
cleaned the
Like,
couch.
we don't necessarily need to
If
get
we end
into
up
the
having to
control
stay the
room
night.
at the moment, but
Sally,
I do get
we are
it.
not staying overnight
Oh,
on
sorry.
the murder submarine.
But I brought my toothbrush.
Err.
Whoa.
What is that?
Look at this painting, Saba.
That's scary.
That's a cool-ass painting. A large painting of some unknown being. Oh, and look at that symbol on the back. Set into an ornate wooden frame. The brass plaque displays a single word, her. Unusually, it has been set directly onto the painting. Whereas you can see down below, I wanted to point this out, you see at the bottom of the painting, you can see where the plaque would normally go, and it's empty.
Oh, maybe this is blocking something.
Exactly. That was my thoughts exactly.
There's something weird about this painting.
What?
The smell. It smells weird.
Yeah, you're right. It smells like,
It's kind of earthy, damp.
well, it's an old painting. Old things smell.
It's just weird because we're in a submarine, that it smells like soil.
Bring it
So
up, bring
can
a little
I-
bit
a
of land
glass of
with
wine.
you.
Ominously left
that's
half
true.
finished.
Maybe the wine was corked.
If it smells like
Ominously
soil, that's probably because of whatever ink it was used, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Can
a
you-
lot
can
of
you hit
people can
the-
use a lot of different materials.
Can you hit the map real quick? Does it show you? No,
Map.
the map. Sorry.
Map.
Can you hit the map real quick? Does it show you how big the? Okay, so look at how big this vessel is, right? Like that's clearly like a large, weird-looking submarine, right?
Mhm.
Can you go back to the picture of her, the portrait of her? It's in your evidence. Yeah. So I think you made the exact same assumption that I did, which is that I think somebody moved that plaque to cover something. I think that plaque might literally just be covering the submarine. And I think that whatever the fucking silver serpent is, I think it's colossal.
Oh, I could believe that. Yeah.
Right? Because if you look at the painting right below where it says her, you can see where there's like a little bit of like shadow or whatever. So if you assume that the width of that shadow is the same width of the submarine, just the creature's face is bigger than the entire ship.
The candles are actually lit. Some of them, anyway.
I'm guessing this place hasn't booked its quarterly fire safety inspection.
There's a lot of carpet and nonsense.
What's in the frames?
They're just ocean landscapes.
Do you like the... How do they nail this into the wall?
Glue.
They just, like, tilted themselves, like, backwards slightly and then shoved it on with glue.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bunch of Elmers. You could also click on the speakers. I don't think you did.
Speakers?
There's an old-fashioned speaker mounted on the wall. It's playing spooky music.
It's the kind of music you'd hear at a fancy party for vampires.
I hear it.
The vampires are all wearing masks, and there's one guy who's secretly not a vampire, and
Sally,
She reads too many books.
Straight up, I think that might be part of her character dynamic from in the game when it fully comes out. I think she has been reading too many
let's
fantasy
head to the crime
novels.
scene first.
So that's the control room. That's the one that's blocked off.
So I guess we're
So
going
this is the
here.
only place you can go.
Because it's colored differently.
Correct.
It's a big metal statue of a serpent.
There's a cabinet built into it, but I think it's locked.
Look at it.
Rotate the 4 dials in the correct arrangement.
Oh.
What are you thinking about?
I don't know. So, are like these are attached to each other? Like I'm not moving stuff around. Like the 3 holds 3 separate things. Each of them.
Yeah, each dial has 1 of each shape, I believe.
Okay, then I have.
Do you understand what
no
the puzzle
clue.
is asking you to do?
No.
Look at the numbers, Saba.
So yeah, 3974.
Okay, and then what are you rotating?
Sides, the number of sides.
There you go.
So. Okay. That's 9. Only a triangle. Unless I can get.
You
both.
can yeah,
Does
so
this
like
count?
that counts, yeah.
Okay. And I need another triangle in here.
Made a little house.
And then this counts.
That's the
think so.
one.
Good
There you go.
job.
Yay!
The little cabinet opened.
Little cabin. Okay.
Anything in there?
Garlic, fantastic.
Sun tablets, a brown glass bottle containing 3 varieties of tablets. There is nothing printed on the label, but someone has drawn a simple picture of a sun
Or is it garlic?
or garlic.
There's 3 separate pills.
Yes.
Well, definitely a
proper
good
tablet,
idea.
A pill, and then some sort of just glob thing.
Good idea to take a vitamin D or sun tablet when you're underwater.
Sure, but my thing is that, like, if you look at that, it's like 3 different types of tablets, but then it's only labeled twice.
Yeah, so what's the third thing?
Right.
3 tables, arranged into a Z shape.
It's actually more like an S from this angle.
Oh, maybe they were trying to write my name, but they ran out of tables.
What?
She's
don't know if that's
definitely
the case.
gone
Little pot with a
insane
red
in
crayon
between
and
the
a-
two
You're not going to
games,
pick
I
it
think.
No?
$10 says this turns out to be an important clue.
You're on.
3 tables, arranged.
Yeah, it's
A wooden chandelier.
Which
This
they're
looks like dead
burning
coral.
something on.
Is coral ever alive?
Coral are marine animals, dude.
What?
You what?
Fish lamp.
A timeless classic.
Hell yeah.
How many pufferfish lamps have you seen, Zach?
Pots and pans for cooking.
We saw one in the last game.
Okay, sorry.
in
How
Felix-
many have
it
you
was in
seen in
Felix's
real
room.
life? I do, because I
That's
do
not-
remember that.
That's irrelevant.
They should make more real life pufferfish lamps.
I feel
That's
like
what we
that
should be
might
saying.
decimate the pufferfish population.
No, not with real pufferfish.
Wait,
Oh, okay.
are these
Jack.
angels or lights?
Both. It's a good idea,
Oh.
since you'd never get any natural light down here.
Okay, I think that was probably about it.
Hey, it's a kitchen.
We didn't have one of those last time.
What?
Nothing.
So that's one of the. So before you move on, that
I
was one of the
guess this
things
is-
I
It is
wanted
kind of a
to
mess,
mention.
yeah.
I think that that's a really clever like callback because yeah, Saba, we went through all of Tangle Tower. They didn't have a fucking kitchen or a bathroom in the entire house. And let me tell you, I only went back to Tangle Tower like years after like it wasn't as popular anymore. The community obviously fucking loved Tangle Tower, but they ripped into the devs, being like, "Really, guys?
There's no
You have a house-
bathroom. How do people live here?
I was like, you have a house that has what 8, 9 people living in it, right? Or I guess 8 because Hawkshaw doesn't count. You have a house that lives 8 people, but yet there's not a single kitchen or de facto bathroom in the whole thing.
No, they essentially leave off the their little island every single time just to go out for dinner and go take their showers and everything, and then they come back.
Right, and then they just row right back, I guess. The Illusion Theater.
So, this is where Magnus Mortuga died. It's just like the case file said. He landed on his back with a cauldron at his feet.
He was killed by getting cut across the neck, right?
Yeah, you can see that's where the blood came from.
But there's no weapon, no knife or anything.
Nothing.
So before you move on, there's some interesting details I want to point out immediately that, because I don't know if you had the same immediate gut reaction that I did. Person fell back and they had a slit in their throat, right? So my first reaction was like, oh, is it the same trick as the other game, right? Where it's like...
Where they fell down and slit the throat.
Right, they fell down and then something slit their neck, right? But they counter that quite expertly in this, because you can see the blood trail actually extends from where he originally was cut and then he fell backwards. You can see the blood trail.
Yeah, it's more like there's probably something in here.
Pinhole? Well, they said that if you look at where his feet was, he was in fact standing directly over the thing. And you're right, I also noticed that little hole. Because I don't know how tall this motherfucker is, but if he's tall enough, it makes
Someone
sense.
could blow dart through here.
Right.
Just and then still retract it. Yeah.
Someone's taped a drawing to the wall.
I think it's supposed to be a poster.
Title here, Illusion Theater. A hand-drawn poster taped to a pipe on the wall in the Illusion Theater. Baroness Fortuna presents Lady of the Looking Glass. Unfathomable beyond anything I can imagine. Inconceivable, I don't know what to believe anymore. Book tickets, Fortuna Hall, Silkworm on Sea, Mondays through Saturdays, starts at 8 p.m.
Did they just kind of base what they wanted to do on this?
It's either this is the rough draft, or it's either this is the rough draft of the main one, which is what you get when you flip it over, or you're correct and they were just trying to base it on the previous one.
Yeah.
There's a wooden panel on the wall here.
Can you see anything through that little hole?
No, it's too dark.
There's a little broken bottle on the floor.
I'm guessing Mortuga dropped this when he died.
Now this one has a moon on it. Ooh.
Moon vial. A small glass bottle found smashed on the floor in the Illusion Theater. Some unknown purple liquid has spilled out. The bottle has a small paper label on which someone has drawn a simple picture of a moon. You can also spin it, I think. It doesn't really matter, but you can.
There's a cloth hanging up on the wall.
Are those footprints?
Sailcloth. A square of thick sailcloth found hanging on the wall of the Illusion Theater. Footprints have been marked in the center of a circular imprint. Someone has painted the words the stargazing girl on it. So, if you actually go back to that poster that we were just looking at, the like makeshift one, yeah, this one. So you can see that I think what it is I think the circular indent goes on top of the ancient stone cauldron. She stands on it, and then it drapes over the side, acting like a banner with her title on it. I think that's the implication, I guess.
Someone's hung up a banner with the words Illusion Theater painted on it. What's the illusion, I wonder?
You know, I think this room's had some kind of rebranding.
Rebranding from what? What was it before?
Possibly nothing. A small room like this wouldn't normally have a name at all.
That's true. You want to... Well, I was going to say you could check out the window, but that's fair.
Not quite what I was expecting.
Behold, a stone cauldron. An ancient-looking stone cauldron found in the Illusion Theater in front of Mortuga's body. The glittering interior of the cauldron is marked with several deep scratches. The exterior is spotted with algae and barnacles. However, these are absent on the inside of the cauldron and on the metal lid, so you can shut it too.
The case file said it had never been locked before.
This place gives me the creeps. That cauldron especially. I keep staring into it like I'm going to see something, but it really does seem to be empty.
To quote from the case file, Mortuga had locked himself in the room. It was later forced open, and the body was discovered.
So Mortuga was alone in a locked room. A very small locked room. There really isn't anywhere for a murderer to hide.
I'm not so sure. I think there is a hiding place.
You have to go to this immediately, you think? Yeah.
I mean, you do have to do this.
Okay.
What happened to Magnus Mortuga? A weapon locked, killed Magnus Mortuga and killed the person inside, and hid something inside in order to frame somebody else, and was killed by what was inside. Because someone told him to.
That doesn't seem right.
And killed the person inside.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why this guy's here.
The cauldron, locked, replaced, unlocked, removed.
Like, I say like the locked cauldron. The cauldron didn't kill anyone, but this one's weird. And killed the person.
And killed the person inside.
Oh.
Magnus Mortuga unlocked the cauldron and killed the person inside.
That doesn't make any sense, though, right?
Keep clicking. And hid something inside in order to frame somebody else, and was killed by what was inside.
Oh. Was killed, okay.
Magnus Mortuga unlocked the cauldron and was killed by what was inside.
I really don't think a person would fit in that cauldron.
Stop clicking!
Didn't they say it had never been unlocked before? If that's true, there couldn't have been anyone there.
Right, I agree.
Man, if only John
I don't
Smith
think it
was
was
here
a person.
to simp
And
for
then what?
Sally.
I don't know. We have to wonder why it was kept locked in the first place. I'm guessing there was something pretty bad in there.
Look, Mortuga died from a cut across his neck, not from some vague paranormal entity. Unless you're suggesting it was a vague paranormal entity with a knife?
Did you
Well,
get a good
no,
look at
but
the
there's
inside
clearly
of the cauldron?
scratches on the
There
inside,
was
yeah.
something I noticed.
So this is something I wanted to point out, I guess, before we continue, because it's like there is a weird. I noticed the cauldron inside the cauldron.
The thing I wanted to point out that I think is a little weird, I guess, is that in the original Detective Grimoire game, right, it's like you do prove at the very end. It's like very Scooby-Doo, right? Like where the entire case is about proving that the murderer was not this like little frog amphibian creature, right?
Yeah.
And then at the very end, the final bit of evidence that you need proves that the amphibian creature does exist, but was not the murderer, right? And so it's like, wow, that's a crazy revelation that this weird, like, cryptid thing is real. And then in Tangle Tower, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, these mythids or whatever are super real. They do exist. So now we have a little bit of like a fucking Scully which I think is intentional since her name is Sally. But now we have like a little bit of a Scully from X-Files situation where it's like, you actively know that Mythids are real, right? Like, not only that, but like the creature, the silkworm serpent or whatever, you know that it's the same creature from, you know, that was
stuff.
like written down in Tangle Tower. So her insistence on it being like, oh, do you think it's a paranormal entity? It's like, bitch, you know it is. What are you talking about? Like,
yeah, you're
you know
like,
that
it's
they're
very real. Ugh.
Those scratches.
Can I not move
You should be
this?
able to. Can you not move it?
Oh, there
Yeah,
we go.
you go. Yeah, like, you already got it. The scratches.
The scratch marks.
Forget.
So isn't
Place
that a cool
myself.
detail as well, by the way? Where it's like, not only are you, not only can you like present the thing, but you can also now present specific parts of evidence.
Yeah. Here we go.
And that's the
Okay,
demo.
the only thing I
See?
wasn't able to click was
Very
that
true.
window. So, but
It's
yeah.
fine. I think the window just says something along the lines of like, I can't tell if this looks to the outside or if it's another tank. I think was all it says.
Okay.
Because
Well,
it's so
good.
dark and
I
there's
like
no
the game,
fish.
obviously. So that'll
Yeah,
be
I
exciting.
think the demo does. I think the demo does. Oh, you're right. By the way, the skull does look like his head. That is interesting. I never noticed that. Clearly this demo is for people that were already interested in Tangle Tower, because even the demo for Tangle Tower back in the day had more content than this. Like I think you talk to 2 people and then that's like the demo for Tangle Tower. Like there's more substantial like stuff from this, whereas this demo really seems to just kind of showcase like, hey, evidence is now in 3D and we kind of streamlined some of the investigation process, which is cool. Like that is
Yeah,
neat,
it's like
right?
they're evolving, like, but they're not completely changing the game, which I think is definitely a good thing. Adding things instead of like
adding thing like adding
Yeah.
in change, because that's like because like the thing that this immediately kind of caught me was that when we eventually get around to Ace Attorney 5, which, you know, maybe not, in Ace Attorney 5, that's when they introduced 3D evidence, right? Because remember when we were doing Ace Attorney 1 and we had that case 5 where you could like rotate evidence and stuff? That was added much later in the Ace Attorney re-release, where they released Ace Attorney 1, 2, and 3, and they added Case 5 to Game 1 on the DS. So that's where that comes from. So Ace Attorney 4 was the last game that didn't have that. And so this game seems to take a page from their book, where in the last game, it was all just 2D evidence, but you still had to like notice details about it. Whereas now, there's definitely going to be something where it's like you're rotating something in a specific direction and it aligns, so that way you can see like some secret or something like that.
Sometimes it's like it's also not having like the tech available to them. Like maybe they just didn't figure out how to include it.
I mean, they probably just didn't have time. You're
Yeah.
definitely right. Like in Tangle Tower, it's like they had, because once again, you haven't played the original Detective Grimoire game, but moving from that to Tangle Tower must have been absolutely monumental in terms of like not only the tech to get from point A to point B, but like redoing the entire art style of the game and making it look as good as it did. Like that already would have been like near insurmountable.
Yeah.
So the idea of like, oh,
totally
we
in
now
the
have this
plan.
base.
Yeah, it could have totally been the plan that they were like, this change is monumental, so we're not going to get to 3D, but we plan to get to it
to do
with
that
the Mermaid
in the
maps.
follow-up, which also is 4 years, because that's the thing that I find really interesting is that like in between so there was a game before the original Detective Grimoire. It was just called like Detective Grimoire or something like that, and it didn't have a subtitle. Then there was Detective Grimoire: The Secret of the Swamp or whatever, which was the one that's available on Steam. Then 4 years after that, it was Tangle Tower, and now it's been 4 years, which is why I'm confident that Mermaid Mask is going to be coming out soon, because it seems like they're on a 4-year dev cycle. I don't know. I really look forward to whatever this game ends up being. The thing that I am curious about, though, is clearly, well, not clearly, I guess, because that's unfair, but like, they clearly seeded a little bit of their idea for this game in Tangle Tower, right? Because you think about all of the mythids that they like showcased in that game. It was the ink dip bird, which was relevant to the story. It was the golden beetle, which was also relevant to the story. It was the fucking soul crab, right? The weird translucent multi-armed crab thing, which wasn't important to the story per se, but you did get to see it a bunch. And then it was the silver serpent, which you had no details on whatsoever, right?
And that weird moth.
That is true. And then there was that weird moth, which they literally don't even have in the book.
Yeah.
Right?
Or just like
so it feels like they very... Oops, sorry, someone's texting me. It feels like they very much set that up to... Scoozy. It feels like they established that to set up this game. Like they always had that plan. But even before this game is even out, now I'm like, well, now what? Are you gonna keep introducing more mythids?
It could be they have this huge overarching narrative that they're actually doing. Like they're trying to lay out.
I mean, they clearly do, because
Yeah.
Detective Grimoire and the Secret of the Swamp had narrative hooks that tied into Tangle Tower, and then this one clearly ties into Tangle Tower. It's the thing where it's like Tangle Tower appears to be like the narrative nexus, right? Because like if you think about it, where it's like the history of, how do I phrase this? The history of the family, right? Like the ancestors and whatnot from the Tangle Tower like mansion, or Mythid Mansion rather, which is what it used to be called. If you consider that to be the quote unquote primary storyline, the storyline that resulted in Secrets of the Swamp is just like a spin-off, and this also appears to be like a spin-off, right? It almost seems like they're now gonna kind of go and try to identify like what happened to all of these mythids, whether or not they
could be
intend
like,
to or not.
what is it, S tier level move where they're like, okay, we have a story, but we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket, and we haven't really set up everything, so let's make the first game, which will
like an offshoot of the actual narrative that we want to tell. Then we're going to tell the actual narrative.
Yeah, because now
and
we have
now
enough funding, and
now we
all
feel
that stuff.
confident to move off.
Yeah.
So, but I guess that's my thing, because once again, I'm really excited for this game whenever it does come out, but it does give me pause, because it's like, are they going to, like, at some point in this game, are they going to introduce more mythids? Because we never saw any more, right? There wasn't like I could definitely see like some character in this game having like this was like this book that my mom passed down to me or whatever, and it's like an expanded compendium of more mythids or whatever. Because it's like, you think about the mythids, because once again, the ink dip bird, I guess the butterfly technically, and the golden beetle were all inherently relevant to Tangle Tower, and then you have the silver serpent and a giant fuck you crab, so I'm assuming both of those are going to be relevant to this, right? We like the silver serpent obviously is going to be relevant, and then I suspect that the crab is going to be relevant since this is the ocean, right? But then like, are you just going to be done, or are you going to take this opportunity to introduce more? I would love for them to introduce more. Apparently the serpent is fucking colossal. 5. It was the original 5, because remember, you have to remember, any mythid that comes from whatever came from the lake surrounding Tangle Tower, right? And like, well, so the amphibian guy, so the amphibian thing, which was like the creature from the Secrets of the Swamp, was from, it was like Richardson or whatever their name was. That was the murder victim in Secrets of the Swamp. He was like just a glorified hunter who just wanted to hunt down the creature and have it as a trophy.
but he was a member of that original crew. So I'm assuming that this one is probably going to star Felix's dad, because Felix's dad was a sailor, right? So I'm assuming that Felix's dad was the one who went to go hunt the silver serpent after it escaped from the lake. But there's other aspects, right? Like, what the fuck? Like, do you remember how, like, the lake, remember how they described, like, oh, it's these big, sheer, white cliffs that no one can scale, and when you go to the bottom of the lake, it's perfectly smooth at the bottom, right? And it's like, so clearly it appears as if it's some sort of like big orbular thing that like cracked, and then that's when like water and earth started getting in there and created like an actual ecology, right? What the fuck is up with that? Like, we don't know, and they never addressed it. So it could very well be a thing where it's like, that might, like, they might establish like, oh, there's actually other locations across the planet that have this unique ecology that allow creatures to mutate into mythids. Because that was one of the things I would love that, right? Genuinely, because obviously it's like, you know, the golden beetle, like, it makes sense why that creature is important, because the, you know, the economy of the situation is insane. But like, I really like how hypothetically, because they said the mermaid mask, so I'm assuming that's another mythid, right? Is the mermaid, quote unquote, whatever that is. But the fact that like that, I don't know, I'm just so in love with that portrait titled Her, and it's like, I'm 99% sure this creature is fucking enormous. Like I swear to God, there is absolutely going to be a scene in this where like we're wandering around, and without even realizing what it is, there's going to be like a giant eyeball looking in from a window, but we're not going to recognize that it's an eyeball because it's just perfectly still, you know? Like, I don't know. I just love the idea of that. The golden beetle is just loose on the island. That's it. Kinda, because what's his face, Professor Pennyworth or whatever, Professor Percival, he's still alive on the island. No, remember the very last shot was them. Oh no, you're talking about how Fitz said that he would keep his father away from, or not his father. He would keep the professor away from it. Yeah. It was Poppy. It was Poppy. Fifi, and Fitz. The three of them were like the intelligent children who survived, and they were like, yeah, we'll take care of
Sorry, I was
island,
muted.
I
Just
which is also not what they wanted, because remember, all three of them wanted off this fucking island, and now it's like, well, fuck. I guess we gotta keep it there.
Yeah, I guess they're like, there's something bigger and more important happening now, because I think they were so focused on like themselves and their own like family situation that now that there's like something outside of them that's happening, that they're like, okay,
Right.
we're here, we have a purpose now besides just existing in torment.
Right. So I don't know, because that's like, cause I guess that's kind of my thing, right? Where it's just like, I don't fully comprehend where you go from here, I guess. Once again, I'm so excited for when the game actually comes out, because I'm just so enthralled by the idea of like, hey, here's an ecology that literally just produces cryptids. Like, given enough time,
Yeah, it's crazy.
a new fucked up creature is gonna come out of this, and it's gonna be sick, right? Because like the you know, the one of the reasons I brought this up was that on the subreddit, when the Mermaid Mask demo first came out like a year ago or whatever, the community on the subreddit was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And I remember seeing like I remember seeing a thing that was like, I wonder if they're ever gonna like try to do Bigfoot, right? Because that's obviously like one of the quintessential, like Bigfoot, Mothman,
the goat, the Jersey Devil, right? Like these are like classic Americana cryptids. The Wendigo, right? Another one from North America. And it's like, are you just gonna not do those ones because those are too iconic? Or are they gonna do a thing where it's like, oh, the second game, well, we'll call it the second game. The second game was in the ocean, so now the third game is gonna be like in the mountains or something, right? Where it's just like different environment per game.
It could just be also using like lesser popular like cryptids in real life as well, like more.
Well,
niche.
this one's called the Mermaid Mask.
Well, yeah, I mean mermaid. Okay, I guess I don't think of mermaids as cryptids, but it's like
you don't think of mermaids as cryptids, right? You think of them as mythological creatures, but that's like what their point is, right? That's why they're called mythids, because it's like they're mythological cryptids.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that like it could be like they like took inspiration from really like cool, not niche per se, but like maybe they went into like
well, I mean,
deep
they just
Norse
created
mythos
bunch,
or blah
right?
blah
They
blah.
created a golden beetle, which is technically already a thing, right? Like we have beetles that look gold, but they're not literally made of gold, right?
Yeah.
And then like you have like a fucked up crab, which is just kind of its own thing, right? There's no mythological creature that's just a fucked up crab. You have a sea serpent, which is kind of, once again, that's just a mythological thing. And then you just have like a cool looking bird, right? It's just a cool bird.
So. So maybe they just took they took like the basis of like plain mythological creatures,
I think
and
they
then
just
added
took like a
special
regular
stuff.
animal and we're like, what if we made this cool?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or cooler, I guess, in most cases. But like, I don't know, because like, yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I think I showed you those. There's like this project I've been following on r/world building, where it's this artist and her boyfriend who's like a writer. They're making a comic book series, and I'm so fucking excited for when it like officially comes out, because the core concept is that it's like there was a secret nuclear testing facility in like the mountains of New England or something like that. And it had a meltdown, but it didn't explode. It just leaked a bunch of radiation into like the groundwater. So very similar to Tangle Tower, now this like giant area of like the New England countryside is slowly being irradiated over like decades and stuff. And so it's like all of the classic cryptids that you think of are actually just mutated regular animals, right? So like, for example, the Wendigo is obviously just a fucked up elk, right? That one's pretty obvious, right? But then it's like the Sasquatch is actually just a mutated bear, or, you know, so on and so forth. And they have like a big list, and they show like the evolutionary progression of like how a normal creature turned into this mythological cryptid or whatever. And I was like, dude, team up with the people that are making the Tangle Tower series, because that's exactly it's the same shit, and I'm down for it, man. I think that's awesome. So
I would agree. Pretty cool.
So yeah, so there you go. Very short demo, so you can see why I was a little disappointed that we couldn't fit this in at the end of the final episode of Tangle Tower. Because it's like straight up, that was like 20 minutes, if that. So, but it is a demo. So
why we were able to do it now, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously I'm excited for this, but once again, just kind of circling back to the actual game that we were playing today, I'm really glad that we ended up playing Guidebook of Babel. I've been talking for a bit, and I guess I'll bring it up again. I've been talking for a bit about how I feel like, for whatever reason, the Chinese market is starting to really have a disproportionate effect on Steam reviews and stuff like that. Not out of malice, but just out of sheer numbers, right? Because once again, when you look at something on Steam and it says overwhelmingly positive, that is not just like, oh, you have this many positive reviews. It is also a factor of like, oh, you got this many positive reviews in a short period of time. But whatever algorithm Steam has was never calculated to handle like 1.2 million Chinese people just randomly being like, oh, this game's like kind of fun.
It's like funny enough.
Because genuinely, Guidebook of Babel was kind of fun.
Yeah, I would say
it's
mainly or very, like, if I were to give it an accurate rating, I would say it's like either very positive or mainly positive. Like, I don't think
I would say very positive. Is it overwhelmingly positive? No, I think it needs a little bit more work aesthetically to be overwhelmingly positive. But it definitely deserves very positive.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, you're right. Maybe, as you said, it's been, the rating's been pushed a bit because of what happened to
whatever. Like, and this feels new because this is before even the Black Myth Wukong came out or anything like that. Like, this has been happening for almost like the better part of a year. And like I told you about it, where it's like I bought like 3 or 4 games that were all labeled as overwhelmingly positive. And once again, it's not that they're bad, but like I went to go check them out really briefly. Like, what was it? Murders on the Yangtze River, right? It was described as a like, oh, it's like Ace Attorney, but you actually have to do the investigation yourself. It's not just like a visual novel, right? And it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so I go and I play it and I'm like, this is good, but it's not overwhelmingly positive, if that makes sense.
Something's affecting.
So it's like, but there's nothing to really do, and it's not because like how do I phrase this? It's not that I want to filter out Chinese reviews. It's that I wish that there was a way where I could manually be like, okay, what percentage of these reviews are from China, so that way I can mentally kind of just lower it just slightly. Because it's not that because remember, you as a reviewer, you don't give it a score. You just say recommend or don't recommend, right?
Yeah.
So it's not their fault that they're having a disproportionate effect. It's just how the system works. And that's just kind of a lack of adaptation on Steam's part, I guess.
Yeah, so that's understandable. Like, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for when things pop up like that.
Yeah.
In the future. Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I guess we'll call that. That was great. Tomorrow is a federal holiday, so I'm not working, thank God. But yeah, I think we're all set. So on Saturday we'll be back with more Pokemon Coliseum. Hopefully Grant will actually be there for the first time in like a month, but that'll be fun. And then I don't know, once again, we'll play it by ear a little bit. Like, I'll probably ask you during stream on Saturday what your vote would be personally, because my inclination is to start 13 Sentinels and then take like a little break at some point, like once it gets a little tiresome, and then we take a break to do Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. But you know, I guess we'll play that.
I think I may be more in the headspace to play Lorelei and the Laser Eyes versus getting into 13 Sentinels. So we'll see. We can like talk about it.
I think that's fair. All right. Ciao, Saba. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Bye-bye. Okay, good end. I'm gonna be very excited because the song I found for Mermaid Mask is called Mermaid Song. I'm very excited. Okay, overall, pretty decent. It was very good on both accounts of the games and stuff. So, all right. Well, I will say goodbye now. Bye-bye.